Sayyiduna Ibrahim alayhi salam. Those who followed him, and he himself especially, was laid into the fire to be burned alive. And his iman and his sabr before that, and his gentleness and perseverance while speaking the truth in wise ways, that he persevered patiently. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, and Moses, Musa alayhi salam, Sayyiduna Yusuf alayhi salam, in different situations. First of all, by his brothers, being away from his family, from when he was a young boy, and the patience he faced as a young adult in the house of the rich, powerful man, and the seduction that he was subjected to by the wife of the very rich man. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him that sabr against falling in disobedience, and the sabr of being away. And he lived in the land of a king who was not a Muslim like himself, but who offered him asylum, who offered him leadership at his level, and he took that, and he patiently persevered within that framework, and he did good, and he admonished good, and he did good to the country that God offered him that asylum. Isn't it that what's happened to Yusuf? Yusuf was in Egypt. Egypt was not his land, and Egypt was ruled by a monarch who was not a Muslim. But he was good to Yusuf. He saw the beautiful qualities of Yusuf. And Yusuf and his family, his people, lived peacefully. And they contributed to the peace of that environment that granted them that security. And so we are to learn from the patience of Yusuf as Muslims also in this country. Do we have problems with this country? Do we have problems with this country? Yeah. In other words, are there issues that we disagree with? Yes. But that doesn't make us or give us the right as Muslims to react towards that in ways that are violent and aggressive and unjust and immoral. That's not right. Because we are, alhamdulillah, we have freedom of religion and of practice and of gathering and of building masajid and institutions more than even most Muslim countries, wouldn't you say? What does that require from us? Gratitude and thankfulness, or ingratitude and unthankfulness and violent response? Which one is it? Gratitude, thankfulness, kindness. And then the problems that we have, we work patiently by withholding our anger inside and not actualizing that, by patiently working through what is available of means, peaceful, democratic, and so on, to produce a change. As long as we are given that opportunity. It is. I need sabr. This requires sabr. And those who have knowledge, usually, I'm going to say a few more things later, in the next hour, have more sabr than those who don't have knowledge. Because when you don't have knowledge that these circumstances in which we are require Islamically that our behavior be positive and constructive than destructive, when we don't know that, then we might, wal-iyadu billah, make the wrong decision. Yusuf was, alayhi salam, in a non-Muslim environment. They did things wrong also. But not only did he live in that environment and practice his faith as the system gave him, but also he contributed as a leader to the well-being of that country while preserving his values. his divine and moral values. Right? And that requires for some of us sabr, number one. Number two, not every time there is something wrong, we have to change it with whatever means is available. What do you say to this? Not every time there is something wrong and unjust, we must change it with whatever means available. What do you say to this? Yes or no, and why? Yes and no, and why? Yes.
Reaction may be counterproductive to the greater good.
That's it. You said it quickly. Because our reaction could be counterproductive to the greater good. It might satisfy me personally. It might satisfy my anger, which is predatory. And it will do more harm to the greater society and the greater community and the Muslims and Islam. And this attitude, is it in the Quran and the Sunnah, or is it our own making? I let you know, it's in the Quran and in the Sunnah. But this attitude of not reacting towards something wrong in ways that are available, even if they are right, ways, if the result is going to be at the cost of the greater good. That's why the rule of fiqh, there is an axiom in fiqh that teaches this: درء المفاسد أولى من جلب المصالح. درء المفاسد أولى من جلب المصالح, which is a rule deducted from the Quran and the Sunnah, demonstratively as well as inductively, those of you who know logic and logical reasoning. Which means simply this, that keeping away, preventing harm, takes precedence over drawing benefit. Drawing the good. Meaning what? If I'm in a situation and I want to change something harmful in order to produce something good, or there is a situation in which I'm faced and there is good and there is harm, and I'm interested in drawing the good, and I could draw the good by so many means. The rule says, especially when good and the evil are the same, if the evil is worse than the good, I should not go and draw the good. I should be worried about removing the harm and the evil. All scholars agree to that. Are you with me? If the harm outweighs the good and the benefit, I should not go and try to work on drawing that benefit and realizing that benefit. I should work on realizing, keeping away the harm. They all agree to that. They also all agree if benefit is as equal to the harm, what should I do in this case? I should not work in drawing the benefit, in working at drawing the good, but I should work at keeping the harm away. So this means, if I want to produce a change in society, there is some harm done, and I'm going to do it in such a way that it will draw more harm than the good I'm trying to actualize. I should forget about that good that I'm trying to actualize. Because by doing that, it's going to generate more harm, which overweighs the good I'm interested in drawing. And it requires patience. It requires patience. Why? It's wrong. It's wrong. Yes, it is wrong. But the way you want to change it is your hawa, is your own inclination. It's your nafs. The shara does not say that. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did not say that. The fuqaha, the ulama did not say that. It simply my inclination. درء المفاسد أولى من جلب المصالح. I should not try to change an evil by producing an evil like it or worse than it. And losing life, and losing property, and endangering Islam, and endangering others. All is harm and outweighs oftentimes the benefit that some are trying to generate in the face of some challenges. Rasulullah says, لا ضرر ولا ضرار. It's a very golden rule in Islam. لا ضرر ولا ضرار. لا ضرر means we should not initiate harm at all. لا ضرار means we should not reciprocate harm with the intent of inflicting pain. That's a rule of Islamic law. لا ضرر ولا ضرار. Very simple to memorize. It has applications on almost in every field of life, all the spectra of life. Religious, mundane, secular, family, personal, school, street. At all levels, you can apply this rule. Eating, everything. لا ضرر ولا ضرار. We should not initiate harm or evil, and we should not reciprocate harm with the intent of inflicting pain. But when we have certain drives, especially when we believe that those drives are animated by something right, like your child is wrong. You have a child, some of you have children, your child is wrong. He made a big mistake, and it is wrong, and you go slam. Inside of you, it's so wrong, it's despicable, it's wrong, cannot be, should not be. The way to change it is slam. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. It's wrong, yes, but that slamming makes it only worse. Child, the harm you have caused to him or her emotionally and physically and to you and to the family is much worse than what you wanted to rectify. But you need patience to withhold from that internally. When before you did that, you were boiling, it was dark inside. You say, even I couldn't see. I'm sorry. If you realize what you have done. I didn't know that my action would have these consequences. Yes, you didn't, but some people told you. If you didn't know, you should have read, you should have studied, you should have asked. And then you should practice other things to have patience. To rectify is not to respond in ways to the wrong that are counterproductive, that would lead to more harm than the harm that we intend to remove. And there is a lot more detail about this. Islam teaches inductively as well as deductively that the intent of the law of Sharia of Islam is to promote and preserve faith and life and reason and property and honor and progeny. And therefore anything we do with the intent of doing good that would lead to more harm to faith itself, to life itself, is not Islamic, even if we perceive it to be so, even if scholarly interpretations said to do so, if the consequence is going to be evil on those universal constants, faith, life, property, progeny, and honor, before that reason. a person who commits an act without patience, without sabr, that violates these things and causes more harm, has not committed an Islamic act, has not committed the Sharia act, even though he or she might have perceived it as such. They are wrong. They are wrong. We do that because we don't have enough patience, enough strength. It's easier to beat the child in that moment of anger. It's easier than to withhold when the drive inside of you is overwhelming. That's lack of something. So those reactions are not the reaction of a wise struggler in Allah Azza wa Jal, but the reaction of an angry, impatient one. Not the way of the prophets. We shall take our recess here, last recess, last session inshallah ta'ala, then we'll resume in a few minutes. Bi-idhnillah. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.